create and train great staff inside of ChatGPT or a platform that we prefer, which is called Claude. And the methodology is all the same. We're going to talk about what that methodology is and talk about how you can put it to value inside of your organization, your real estate school, for individual real estate courses, whatever it might be. The agenda is we're going to talk about the three things that it takes to build a good bot. So any bot that you see on the internet, anytime somebody sells you a bot for your website or some sort of AI component that helps you save time and energy in what it is that you're doing, all of them have these three qualities. And they may look a little bit different, but all of them are consistent. We're going to talk about what those three qualities are. Then we're going to talk about the methodology you can use and actually show you how you can do it inside of these AI platforms and just really go to work. By the time you get really good at doing this, it can take you 20, maybe 30 minutes to create a well-trained employee for your business. And the wonderful thing about all of this is that these employees don't cost you healthcare insurance, they don't cost you taxes, they don't cost you headaches and heartache because they're not doing their job. You build them to perform the function you need them to perform, and for only $20 a month, you can use one of these platforms to do all of those functions any time that you need them. And it is an absolute game changer for any sort of small business person, which all of us are. So let's dive into it. What is that recipe for success? And I will say this, if you have any questions throughout this process, stop me at that moment, ask at that moment, because inevitably, when you rewatch this or somebody else rewatches this, they will probably have a similar question. So just stop, fire it up, and we'll get that question answered. But to that recipe, the first ingredient is you have to tell your bots what to do. And this is essentially a standard operating procedure for your processes. So in other words, much like you would train an employee if they were to come into your business, you tell them step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, however many steps are in your process, you have to tell your AI bots what those steps are. And in ChatGPT and Claude, they give you a specific place to list those instructions. So what we like to do is just create a Google Doc and write out how we would explain those instructions to a particular employee, down to the ask this question, state this reply. Depending on the response, move to this particular step or move to the next step. You want to be clear. This is a great exercise for you to just practice your method for explaining to people what it is that they're supposed to do for you. But it's also the imperative thing that you need to do to make sure the bot listens to your instructions. And the better your instructions can be, and by better, I don't mean more detailed or more minute. I mean better as in clarity. If you were to give this to a person, could you trust them to follow the process? And if your answer is yes, then you've written great instructions to tell a bot what to do. That's the first recipe, first piece of the recipe. The second piece of the recipe is you have to tell them how to do it. And much like with an employee, you have to train them for the role that they're preparing for you or doing for you. So if you hire an employee to come in as a bookkeeper, you have to teach them the role and where they fit within the process. You have to teach them the importance of the role. You have to explain to them where they fit in the larger piece in the puzzle and what outputs they produce so that it is valuable to the larger organization. And it's the same thing if you have a marketing employee. It's the same thing if you have an operations employee. In your specific context as real estate educators, if you have someone coming in educating students on a particular topic or teaching a particular course, you should explain to them the role that they are playing. And you should be able to say, when you teach this course, you are teaching students to perform X, Y, and Z. and you are preparing students to take the next step in their learning journey. And understanding that responsibility, understanding that role tells them how to do the job. It tells them what to produce. It tells them the value of what they produce. And if that is something you use to train your employees, then you are also in a position to train these bots. And then the third thing is the context. And this really is just another way of saying the aptitude for the role that they are preparing for. So again, when you bring in a new employee, you not only want to give them step-by-step instructions and the role that they have to play, but you want to give them training materials. This can be training videos, this can be a technical manual, this can be a process manual, it could be stereo instructions. It could be that boring of information. But either way, you need to know that they have the context of the role that they play and the steps that they take, and be able to frame information that they get as employees in the right manner. And that's the same thing you're doing with a bot. So again, if you know how to train an employee on the aptitude of their job and how to train them to be apt employees, you also know how to train bots to be apt employees. And the key through this recipe is that we are not training AI bots to replace people that we don't have. We are training AI bots to serve roles for people that we cannot have. And by cannot, I mean we don't have the money, we don't have the time to train people, we don't have the resources, we don't have the patience. I mean, I hate training employees. I don't know if any of you have that same sort of difficulty, but I hated training employees when I had a large print and mail house because it took a tremendous amount of time to evaluate their effectiveness. It took an incredible amount of money to evaluate whether or not they were even the right fit. And the difficulty in hiring difficult, firing easy means you spend all this energy finding the right people, and it doesn't take a lot to get rid of them. Well, we should flip that script. We should make it easy to find and train our staff and make it difficult to find reasons to not use them in our organization anymore. And that's the great thing about these AI bots. The recipe for success is training your bots to function much like you would train your employees to function. Does that make sense? That provide good context as to what it is that we're talking about today in terms of this concept, because it doesn't get more complicated than that. Tell them what to do, tell them how to do it, and give them context of their role. That's it. If you can do that, you are well positioned to create AI bots that work for you in a variety of different ways. So with that said, you understand the recipe. Let's talk about the method. When talking about teaching your bot how to do something, simply draw out a process map and write down the instructions for each step of that process. That's as simple as it is. And then you go through and you create a step-by-step process description that you can give this bot. And I'm going to go ahead and open for you one example of what those instructions look like for one of our methods. And this is what we call our ideal client profile. Oh, yes, I am, in fact, me. And there is my password. Okay, so this is the step-by-step instructions that we give our AI bot to create our ideal client profile. And you can see here, it's step one, ask for the name of this of the avatar, right? This should be something we give it the step-by-step instruction, and we give it the specific question to ask. And then the second step, write a descriptive paragraph based on the answers to these following three questions. and we describe what those questions mean. Then we ask for the name of the product and service. And then we instruct the bot to create a description of that product or service based on answering these 4 questions. And then we give it the next step and the next step and the next step. But here you can see we have mapped out our entire process for creating an ideal client profile, which looks like, where are you? Which looks like this here. This is all the key information that we need for that ideal client profile. The client's name, how we would describe them, what their demographics are, what their key purchasing drivers are. All of this information is laid out in these specific steps one by one. And then it goes down as far as to say, we instruct our bot to produce what is called an artifact inside Claude to produce that information. Step-by-step instructions, write it out. And if I was to give this to an employee, could they follow these steps? The individuals that I've tested this on said, if I knew what an ideal client profile was, I would be able to do that, which is a good evaluation, because if I give, go ahead.
I'm in my bedroom.
Okay.
No, I was just watching a web.
There we go. Okay, he wasn't talking to us. But all that said, if you were to give these instructions to somebody that you have not provided any aptitude training or any context of their role, if they are able to say, yes, I could follow these instructions, I know exactly what to do, even if I don't exactly know what you're talking about, that's a pretty good indication that you've written good instructions. Now, when we go back to the second part of the recipe, we want to create what's called an AI persona. And this is the description of the role. This is the description of their job responsibilities. This is how we describe how somebody does their job, or in other words, how a bot does their job. And again, this is how we write out our AI personas. We tell them the specific role that they perform in our business. So we essentially give them a job title. And we tell them what their specialty is. So in this particular case, we are telling this bot that it is a marketing consultant that specializes in strategic guidance and tools related to client personas. We describe them their personality type. We tell them what their personality values are. So in this particular case, we explain that this bot is creative in understanding the emotions of people we're working with, that they're very process oriented and follow steps that build off of one another, and that they focus on producing value for the people that we work with. So in other words, the internal and external customers, we are concerned of producing something valuable for them to use. Now, much like if we were to write a job description for this position, that's essentially what we're doing here. In telling somebody how they're doing their job, we're telling them what their job description is. And that's what we're doing for the bot in saying this. We're giving them personality profiles, we're giving them job responsibilities, we're explaining to them what their job title is and role is. And then in the context of all that as well, we explain where they fit within the larger scheme of our organization. So we explain how our business is to help small businesses thrive and grow and develop these specific tools, in this case, an ideal client profile, to improve lead generation and revenue generating activities. Now, if you're talking about this from a course creator perspective, you want to teach a bot, which we have a product, which Mike has bought, to create a bot that will instantly or near instantaneously draft course content for you so that you can spend the majority of your time creating engaging presentations and perfecting the method of which you will stand in front of people and deliver valuable information. We will explain to them that our business is to educate real estate professionals and improving and obtaining, improving their aptitude in the industry and obtaining their continuing education credits. And that our goal is to help them sell more homes for more money and increase the value of their services to their clients. We've explained the role in that particular case. And then also, we might give a little bit more context here as to the specific output and the product that they provide by helping them understand what that product looks like and how that product might function inside of our business. Either way, what you would want to be able to do with this document as well is give it to a potential employee and say, can you understand your role in the organization? So together with these instructions, you can look at it and say, or that employee could look at it and say, yeah, I really get this. I'm starting to understand what it is that you're talking about. And then the final thing you want to do is provide context, and that is the aptitude and the training for the job. And this, you can create a technical manual. You can use resources that you legitimately have claimed to use, either because of licensing rights or because it's information that you've created. So in this particular case, I've used assets because I'm a digital marketer certified partner on creating and understanding what the ideal customer profile is. But there's another thing that you can do here to create these technical manuals. And that is, you can go into ChatGPT and actually have ChatGPT help you write a technical manual in about 10 minutes on anything that you want to write that technical manual on. And here's an example of a technical manual that we might have created, right? So here's there's a long chat here that I'm just quickly scrolling through that will show you from the top that I'm asking ChatGPT, because this is what ChatGPT is really good at, is this research side of things. Tell me what you know about copywriting. And then I go through and I ask, tell me what you know about this particular marketer, John Benson, who is the world's best copywriter for email and websites and VSLs. And tell me what you know about digital marketer. And I basically understand what ChatGPT understands and helps it develop an understanding of the aptitude I want my bot to have. And then I'll say, create me an outline of a technical manual. And then I'll go through and say, write chapter 1, write chapter 2. And then I'll paste that into a Google Doc and use that as my knowledge base for training my bot on how to understand the framing and the context of the role that they play. Again, this would be to paint it to how it is that y'all teach real estate courses, which I can speak to now because I'm sitting in the process right now of my pre-licensing course here in Georgia. You give us these big, obnoxiously large teaching books, right? Course books. This big behemoth of a document right here, all 400, 654 pages of it that I have to study in Georgia. It's disgusting.
Good stuff.
But it's good stuff.
Just take your test.
Yes, yes. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to read through this manual all at once. I'm going to read through it in sections like John L. is having me do. But this book contains everything I need to know to learn what not to do and to pass the test as required by law. That's the same sort of thing that you're creating here. Obviously, it's not going to be as detailed as a 654-page textbook, but it will be enough that if you were to give something like this to your employee, they would have the training they need to perform this specific role. And as we go through and create our bot today, we are actually going to go through and write a technical manual on social media copy that we can use to train our bot. So with all of that said, that's the method. Again, it's not difficult to understand how to train your bots and what's needed. It's also not difficult to create those resources. You just have to be diligent and focused on what you need your bot to do. And you can create as many of these things as you want. For 20 bucks a month inside of ChatGPT or Claude, you can create a bot that does social media copy, email writing, website building, whatever it might be, that gets you about 90% of the way there. Because again, no employee is going to do everything. So much like millennials want to just do the job that they are given, use that same principle to train your bots to do the job they're given, and they will perform it extremely well. So, who wants to build an AI bot? What we are going to do is we're going to use this 3-step method to create a bot, just as I described it. And we are going to train this bot to write social media content. We're not going to create anything over the top difficult. We're simply going to tell the bot what to specifically do. And I've kind of cheated because I've created this bot before, so I'm going to show you the instructions that we already have. Right? We'll create the bot in Claude. We'll use it. We'll refine it. And then I'll show you how to create a custom GPT. Does all that make sense? And then when we create this bot, as part of showing up today, you'll get all of these instructions. You'll get all of these methods along with this training video as just for showing up. So you're not only walking away with an understanding of how to create these bots, you're going to have a bot that can create social media copy for you. Sound good? So let me pull up these instructions real quick for the bot, or we might just go into ChatGPT and I can show you the bot that I've created already. Is this it? Okay, so that's the strategic planner. So this social media generator bot, if I go in here and edit the GPT, we'll flip this backwards and we'll do ChatGPT first. Here, the instructions that I give the bot are a mixture of the persona that we created, as well as the step-by-step instructions. So if I take this out and I just create a new Google Doc real quick. Right? This is the persona training that I've created. So what part of the context is this? Or what part of the 3 steps is this that we're looking at right here? And let me zoom in real quick. All right. You will act as a social media copywriter in our business and specialize in writing content for Meta and LinkedIn. So I'm even going as far as to tell the bot what platforms to write for. Your personality type is one that shows empathy for people reading the post while trying to inform them about what actions they can take to improve their position in life. So again, to go back to, of that 3-stage recipe, how to do, what to do, and the context, what step is this one here?
Number 1, telling it what to do.
This is actually how to do it. This is the context of understanding their role in the company, right? Because again, when we tell our employees how to do the job, we're essentially giving them a job description. So in this case, we're giving the bot the job description for their role of being a social media copywriter. And again, we offer some additional description of the job. Write content for the ideal audience that the user provides. Don't specifically call the audience out or identify it, but use language members of that audience would find particularly engaging. Now, if we were to give that instruction to an employee, they might understand that, they might not. This is a real basic how-to, but this is that second step of the instruction. And then if we were to create a new document here and go back into ChatGPT and write out these specific step-by-step instructions, right? We're telling it, in this particular case, that first part of the recipe, how to do it. Ask, what are we writing about today? Step 3, give context. Ask, are there any details, right? If we were to give this to an employee, they can follow these steps one by one. And then we have a technical manual here that's actually part of a technical manual that I have the license to use that I can let you all use. And that is basically just a document that is called 100 viral posts, the 100 viral post templates. And it's basically a guy that is a free lead magnet, provided his 100 most viral posts that he's written about on social media and actually breaks it down. So this is what we use to train the bot on the aptitude of what we're doing. And if we go into Claude, so this platform is Claude.ai, this one being, of course, ChatGPT.com. But if we go into Claude AI, which I think is a better writer, it has a better language model than ChatGPT does. ChatGPT is great for research, horrible for writing. Claude, not great at research, significantly better at writing. And I like comparing these two platforms by saying ChatGPT is kind of like a petulant know-it-all high schooler that knows what you want, but even still doesn't give you everything that you want because it thinks it knows better. And Claude is more akin to a high quality graduate assistant that follows instructions and provides very valuable outputs to what it's doing. But either way, with that editorial aside, what you do in Claude is very simple. You start your account. You do have to have the $20 premium account and pay for it every month to create these projects. But in the left-hand menu here, you just navigate over and you go to projects. And then here you can see projects that we've created. But if you want to create a new project, just click Create Project, title it whatever it is you want, describe what it's trying to do. Chat, right, for Meta and LinkedIn. And then you create the project. And then at this point, you have a bot, but the bot hasn't been trained yet. The first thing we want to do is upload our project knowledge. And this is where we upload this document. And if you create it in Google Docs, you just simply, I always title it knowledge base, and then AI persona, social media copywriter. And I will just download that as a PDF. And when I have it as a PDF, you can see here that it's just that nice little document. And then I will actually take that document and drag it into the ad. I'll click add content and then upload it from device. And then basically what I do is I just upload that knowledge base document here. The other piece of content that I want to upload is that context document, the training document, the aptitude document. And in this case, I'll just search for it, 100 viral posts, which I think is, there we go. And I'll upload that document there. And the nice thing about Claude too, and this is, again, just a commentary on why I think it's a better platform, is that you can upload a tremendous amount of information compared to ChatGPT. There is a limit to what both platforms can take in terms of that context, but you can upload a tremendous amount more. So the great thing about these bots is part of the aptitude of training an employee is teaching them to do their job better over time. So one thing that I like to do is as I write content, I will add posts that I like, that I write, or the final product of what I do back into the content as part of the knowledge base. And then finally, you want to set custom instructions. And that's where you just literally copy and paste the information from this document into the Claude project spot here. And in this case, we don't need to use Dolly because this isn't inside ChatGPT. But there we go. Now we've created the initial steps of the bot. And I might want to say, what do we want to write a social media post about today? Mike, John, Vivica, we can write a post for each one of you. Just somebody blurt out a topic.
Benefits of using a buyer
How
broker.
about, oh, John, you talking? Go ahead. No worries. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead. What topic did you want to write about?
Benefits of using a buyer broker.
Okay. Write a post about the benefits of using a buyer broker. Okay, that's how we start off with the chat. Now, we didn't go through details of the instructions, but we can see if it follows our instructions. And when you see Claude saying pondering, standing by, that essentially means it's referencing the information. So it starts here by asking you the question, what is the audience of this post? And it gives us some details, try to identify who members of the audience are and what a core challenge might look like and what solutions they might be seeking. So in that particular case, who are we writing this post for, Mike?
Real estate licensees.
Okay. Writing this post for real estate licensees. And when you write this post, what is a core challenge that they might be reading it to solve? Like if they were to read this post by you, Mike, what information would you want them to know to solve a core problem? And what is that problem?
How to sell their services to a buyer.
Okay. Struggling to sell their services to a buyer. Perfect. I mean, and really that's about all the information you need, right? Now let's move on to the next step. What are we writing about today? I already said, in this case, the bot is following the instructions so much so that it's ignoring that first part that we talked about. We are writing about the benefits of a buyer broker agreement. All right. Thanks for confirming the topic. So it actually, you're seeing here, the bot is recognizing the topic that you used to start the conversation. So gather some additional context. Are there any details, personal stories, or other context that you'd like to provide for the post? I mean, one piece of context might be the recent NAR settlement is creating a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the profession. Any other piece of context you might want to write about? I mean, again, this is just a demonstration. So if that's fine, then we can rock and roll with that. So we provided some key information for the bot here, and now it's going to write this post. And it's referencing the instructions that we've given it, as well as the context of that document that we gave it. And it writes out this post in a very specific way. Now, these are the instructions I give it. You can give it whatever sort of instructions you want. But I tell it to write, each sentence is a paragraph, use ellipses on the end of each line, keep sentences simple and focused. But here's the post. Real estate is changing. The NRA settlement shook things up. Buyers still need guidance, and that's where you come in. A buyer-broker agreement is your secret weapon. It establishes trust from day one. The buyers know you're on their side. No divided loyalties, just pure advocacy. The agreement spells out your duties, searching for homes, negotiating offers, solving problems, all for a clearly defined fee. Transparency, it doesn't just stop there, right? Transparency builds confidence, and confident buyers make decisions. Decisions lead to closings, and closings mean commissions. So now you're starting to talk about solutions. But it's more than money. It's about providing real value. In a world of online listings, your expertise stands out. The agreement proves your worth. It shows you're professional, and it just continues to go on and on. So we might say, all right, that's a good start. Let's tell our bot, let's shorten that post. And let's add at the end a call to action to register for the next buyer's broker agreement CE course on September 7th, right? Again, I'm just throwing out details here, throwing stuff out. But I'm giving it specific instructions on how it can refine this. And you can see here that it goes through and it just continues to write this out, right? Real estate is changing. The settlement shook things up. Buyers still need guidance. your secret weapon, no divided loyalties, advocacy. I mean, it writes out this post here. And honestly, if you were to write something out this like yourself, how long would it take you to do it? I mean, Vivica, I'm taken by you're shaking your head. This would take you probably 30 to 45 minutes to write. Maybe 20 if you're really
Absolutely.
good. But what you have now trained your bot to do is draft content for you in a matter of 2 minutes. And what you can do is go through and make certain change. I mean, you can paste this into Facebook and make changes right there. You can paste it into a Google Doc and make changes there. But in 5 minutes, you can edit this thing to sound exactly like you want it to sound and rewrite this post in very specific ways to sound and say exactly what you want it to say. And then at the end of all of that, you go back into your bot, add content, add text content, name what it is, updated, revised post content as I posted it. And then you just paste it in there. And then now you're training your bot on the edits that you make. So the next time you go in and make a post, it understands its role better. So not only do you train your employees to do the job well on the first take, you train them each time to do that job better as you go through and create these bots. And so you could literally make a post every single day. I mean, the biggest challenge with social media copy is not writing great copy, it's consistency. And you as real estate educators and business owners, how much time do you really want to spend writing a piece of content, which you need to do if you want to use organic growth through social media? You don't want to spend 30 or 45 minutes doing this. I mean, I always like to joke, if you have something that you can do while you're sitting on the toilet, you have a bot that does its job. And, without going into too much detail, I may or may not post at those particular times a day. Because what else are you doing there? Your bot drafts something in 2 minutes. You can walk out, grab a drink, take another 5 minutes, give yourself a short break, create something amazing, and then you can go from there. Post on your social media, post a picture with it, and then you rock and roll. Seem pretty good stuff, pretty good stuff? Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside of ChatGPT, it's the same thing. What you do is from ChatGPT, click on the button here that says Explore GPTs. And I'm going to open that in a new tab so I can copy everything over. And then you just click the button that says Create. You name your GPT. So we'll call it Test Social Media Generator. You describe it just like you did in Claude, right? So social media copywriter or Meta and LinkedIn. You paste those instructions. The only difference here is I like pasting the knowledge base for the persona as well as the instructions for what to do. And so we just paste those in. ChatGPT, there we go. Oh, dance around all over the place, right? And then the one thing about ChatGPT that's great is you can pre-program your conversation starters. So you can say your conversation starter is, I need a social media post. And then you can upload your file, that being the 100 viral posts. There we go. and you can give it the ability to browse the web or create images. And then you just create the bot. And you can create this so that anybody on your team can use it. You can create it so that only you can use it. Hell, you can go out and create a store. You can sell this if you want to inside the ChatGPT store. In this case, I'm going to just say anyone with the link. Save the bot. It'll take a moment to kind of think through. And there we go. And so when we go into View GPT, we can say, I need a social media post, and it should run through those instructions. Now, I will tell you that the one thing about ChatGPT is that sometimes it goes a little rogue on the instructions. I have never found a way to write a prompt inside ChatGPT that makes it follow your instructions. So again, we take the same thing, right? We go back to our discussion here. Write a post about the benefits of using a buyer broker agreement. All right. And while it's typing that out, we'll paste that back in there. So again, it didn't even ask us for the audience. So we'll just go back to the context. And then it provides the social media post, right? Now, again, I don't like the writing out of ChatGPT, but you can train the bot inside ChatGPT much the same way, right? So again, navigating real estate world feels like it's walking through a fog, and our NAR settlement has left many wondering what's next. Uncertainty can be stressful. There's one way to get it with get some clarity, a buyer broker agreement. I mean, it's a little bit shorter post, a little bit more concise. It doesn't emote quite as much, but you see the output is just the same. So, and like I said, I'm going to send you these instructions. I'm going to send you how to create the bot. Obviously, you'll get to rewatch this video when we get it sent out in the next couple of days. But you can use this process for any bot that you want to create. So if you want, I mean, we're going to send you the instructions for a social media generator, but I can tell you that we have consolidated our marketing consulting, which normally was a 90-day program, down into 90 minutes because we built a bot for every step of the process. So that's how effective it is. We've actually been able to add services because of it.